If I look up worship, etymology, worship, Old English, worship, England, worship, West Saxon, condition of being worthy, dignity, glory, distinction, honor, renown, worthy, reverence paid to a supernatural or divine being, is first recorded in the 13th century. Worshipful, honorable. Oh. I think just I think more than like worshiping God is worshiping the truth and worshiping logic that arrives one at the truth, because in the purest sense, that is God. Like the truth of the circumference of a circle is, pi times the diameter, or the ratio of the ratio of the circumference to the diameter is pi, is truth. The truth that even like how men and women are, the truth of just any physics, the truth of communism. Like, what is the truth? It gets where socialism gets masked over by like all these ideals and fantastic ways of thinking about it, but that's not the truth of what communism is. And versus some idea of God that we don't, it's not about logically like deducing God. I think it's just removing the falsehoods, the clearly false lies, or falsehoods which are lies, not false lies. False lies, I guess, too. But the more you see clearly and the more you get rid of illusions about things, the closer to the truth you get, which is closer to God. And so a worship of the truth or of virtue, like the Stoics would say, that is something. Where is this etymology of this?
So beautiful.
This word, thank you. Worthy, reverence paid to a supernatural or divine being. As a being or an entity, yeah, maybe God. If it is entity, we almost don't even want to like it's not an entity.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
But so in that sense of the etymology of it, like it's not something that you really worship God, because that makes God like this entity outside of you. But it is a worship of truth, which maybe is not an entity, but it is both natural and supernatural in my mind, because the truth is very natural. It is what it is, which is nature, evolution. Like humans are natural. The civilization is natural, even though we have all these straight lines and roads and everything like that. It's a product of humanity. Humanity is natural. Now, we might not say humanity is natural because aliens came and engineered us and hybridized and all of that, but that's natural. And as much as the aliens are natural, they evolved from someone, or they were hybridized. And then that's a natural, at some point, something evolved, not just from nothing. Not a rock didn't become alive and sentient. In my personal belief, the consciousness was always available in the universe. And as the molecules and the matter organized in such a way that it could, like a computer, receive consciousness. It's like we had to develop technology to harness, let's say electricity was already in the atmosphere. There was already electricity all around. But we needed to develop the material in the right way, in the right purity and sequence, and in the right pattern, the design, so that it could harness the electricity. And, there may not be internet. Internet may not have always been around, but there was always radio waves going through the universe. There's radio waves, but we needed a radio wave receiver to receive the radio waves. Otherwise, we're not perceptive to it. And I think consciousness was always around, but until the unanimated material became organized in such a way, just like a computer's unanimated, it's just material, so that it could receive the consciousness that was permeating all things. And then so life, everything was already alive. It was just so primitive that there was no expression of mind outside of just the design and orientation of molecules and matter and whatever. So I'm not saying that evolution means that it goes from rock to a single cell organism or something. But I'm saying the process of evolution, of mutations happening over a long period of time that eventually accumulates into something that's entirely different than its original, its, what came before it. And then on and on and on. And eventually there's diversity that competes with each other. So the kind of evolution that spawns from that is really, really hard to predict. You can't even predict it because there's so many interactions between organisms. There's no way to like predict which way it's going to grow, but it is going to go in some direction, and diversity increases, and predators and prey, and what we have life on Earth. At some point, somewhere in the universe, that originated somewhere. There was not an intervening alien species that genetically engineered and leaped an organism forward in their evolution. Like humans have leaped forward. It would have taken monkeys, who knows how long, to become something human. But aliens came in and shortcutted that millions and millions of years. And then, but I would say that's all natural. That, now that may kind of water down the idea of what is natural, being like uninterfered from an outside system. But then I would say, well, then what's a beaver making a dam? That's interfering with the system. Is a beaver's dam not natural? Is a bee's hive not natural? Is a bird's nest not natural? They're making it. It didn't just appear. They had the mind and the technology, the instinct, you could even call it, but that's been patterned into the DNA through repeated decisions over many generations. And so humans are much, 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 much more sophisticated than that. But this is my bird's nest right here. This is my beaver's dam and all of that. This is my owl's nest where we hollow out a tree or something. So I don't mean to do away with the idea of natural or make it so watered down that everything that's, where something outside of the system comes in and changes the system is an ant colony or an ant mound. That's, is that natural? But what I'm saying is it's the truth, and the logic is both natural and supernatural, because nature is organizing off of the truths of the universe. And so the truths came first. They came simultaneously, but it takes time for nature to organize and develop based on the laws. The laws were already there. The circumference was already, the ratio of the circumference to diameter was already pi when it started. And, the laws of physics were already the laws of physics, but then it takes time for the material to use those laws or be used by them or whatever and develop into something else. So the truths of the universe, I think, are supernatural because they're beyond nature. Nature didn't create the truths. The truths created nature as we see it.
Yeah.
And so a worship of the truth is the worship of something supernatural. And if you want to call that divine, I mean, what else is there that we would call divine? I don't think aliens are divine just because they're evolved into energy beings or, fourth dimensional beings, fifth dimensional, whatever. Like they're still entities. They're creatures. They didn't, in as much, now it may even be that a creature evolved so highly, maybe even hive-minded, into trillions and trillions and quadrillions of their offspring, because who knows, population just keeps going, and they populated the universe, and they all came together, became some so unfathomably powerful being that they created the universe we're in. Maybe it was created by some entity. Huh?
Like the dragon.
Maybe. But what I'm saying is, might as well be God. I'll just call it, if it created this universe and the laws in it and the material in it, then that's God to this. I don't need to debate if that's an ET from 15 billion years ago and it's evolved into something so powerful that we can only conceive of it as God.
Wow.
But all of the other entities, the greens and the grays and the blues, and every life form like that lives and dies. I don't care if they live 200,000 years. It's still an alien. It's matter. Maybe it's highly evolved, very intelligent, whatever. That's not God. I don't worship that. I worship the truth. Go ahead.
I've had this question building up, and it's perfect because it's kind of been coming up for me. There's stuff that I've been seeing on Instagram where there's like all these women talking about going back to being natural, and they're talking about like there's women taking out literally like breast implants and looking all weird and like scarred and all this kind of stuff. And
now keep in mind that's what's being pushed on Instagram, because even though there's a pride display, doesn't mean that so many people are gay. There's
It's being pushed.
Yeah, it's being pushed.
Well, that's just what I've noticed is because these women are claiming that in order to be spiritual and have a connection to spirit, that you have to be all natural, that you can't have prosthetics in your body.
They're claiming that.
Totally
How do they know that?
That's false.
Okay. So, well, yeah.
Well, my question is what you think about that, because like
About
I think it's
what exactly?
so messed up. They're claiming basically that women who have any kind of prosthetics, any kind of implants, fillers, even women that wear makeup, that they're not natural and that they're disconnected from God because they're unnatural. And I'm wondering what you think about that. Because like obviously I disagree. I don't think that.
Yeah, is it worth discussing, or are you having problems with like some women are coming at you with that idea and you don't know how to
Yes.
confront it? They are?
Like not directly at me, but like there's a woman who comes to my podcast that clearly holds these views, and I
that a natural only so all right, well, it is natural for a woman to want to make herself more beautiful. And would you say that a man who had laser eye surgery or wears glasses, fake hair maybe, or you know, that got tattoos because he doesn't naturally look that way, or contact lenses, or wore braces, and so his teeth are straightened out? Like, are you saying that anybody that did anything to modify? What about working out? What if you work out and improve your body? Is that not natural? Because animals don't work out. They don't go to a gym. I mean, what about sitting in a chair? What about watching an iPhone? Yeah. What about watching an iPhone or a TV screen? That's not natural. What about driving a car? Like, what exactly do you do that's natural besides eat, shit, and sleep and fuck?
Thank you, Mike.
But even that, I mean, because animals don't fuck indiscriminately like a lot of you bitches are. A lot of you bitches are not going with somebody that's a strong mate for you. You're just going with somebody that generates attraction in you. But a natural woman would see so much consequence to mating with a man that she would never do that unless her future was secured. So, or she's an idiot and she's whoring herself, because that's a natural thing too. But also in the animal kingdom, do you see? I mean, there is a kind of sexual exchange. We couldn't call it prostitution, really. I mean, there is some animals the woman will not mate with the man unless the man drops some food. Like the male of the species will bring a dead animal or carcass, an insect or something, offered as food. And then the woman has something. That's prostitution, what we would call in humanity, but we don't call it that in animal kingdom because that's actually natural. So there are even men or male, I mean, men do this too, but there are male animals that display the food and then fornicate and then take the food. The chick doesn't even get the food.
I want to watch videos of that.
Yeah, you can watch it.
Funny.
Yeah, you can watch mating rituals of animals. Just look it up. So, you know, what is natural? So you're saying, oh, no, all of those natural, no, I don't mean like unnatural. I mean, that's a pretty solid argument because it's like, but if they're going to go the route of like, no, I don't mean like, I get that these things are natural in the sense that like humans have developed them, but I mean like body modifications. If you don't love yourself enough,
yeah, that's
and then it's that it's like, well,
how you don't love yourself.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Is that like your opinion?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, because it is their opinion. You need to know when somebody's stating an opinion or a fact. And if you know it's an opinion, then you can always address it with, how do you know that? How do you know? Is that like your opinion? Is it your opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my opinion that you can't be divine. You can't, experience the divine. What?
So then the girls say the common garbage, like, oh, I'm channeling like information from the divine. Like I got this thing, what I always used to tell you, and you would tell me that's your mind, but they fully believe that they're receiving this information from a higher source. That's what women think. Most women who think they're spiritual, that I'm in communication with, think that they're receiving messages from a higher source, but they seem lost to me.
What seems lost about them to you?
Like there's just like one girl who's like seems like she's got it put together, but actually out of nowhere started posting that she wants to be in a relationship with multiple men. And I'm like, what is, like, she clearly lost her way, but she's saying that she's getting channelings from the divine. No, she's not. She's lost.
So is it your channelings from the divine that makes you want to be with multiple men?
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
That's what I would say to her. So you're saying that the divine is telling you you should be with multiple men?
That's what she said.
Right. And
she confirmed, yes, she's being led in that direction.
She's being led. Are you being led by a man or by a non? Okay, so it's the divine. The divine is leading you. And you know, how do you know it's the divine?
Okay, that's what I should ask. How do you know it's the divine and not the devil?
Yeah, I mean, how do you know it's the divine?
Yeah.
You know, because some people worship the devil, and to them the devil is divine. That's what worship is when you give so much honor to something that you consider supernatural and divine. Some people worship the devil. Some people worship Shiva, the destroyer. Some people worship different Wicca lore, you know, whatever. Like, so what is the divine? Like, so when you say the divine, you're channeling the divine and it's telling you, like, how do you know it's the divine and not just some voices in your head or some programming from your past, or you're just justifying to yourself, you know? How do you know it's the divine? Oh, it's, what did you think she would say?
I think she would say, well, she does have like a backup story where she was like 300 pounds and in 6 months just like melted her weight without going to the gym once. And she claims that the divine did that. So she would say, because I feel that I'm guided, because the divine has helped me so much. I was sick and fat and now I'm healthy and well.
I see. Well, you know, in my philosophy, this would be like you, in my philosophy of life, it's not appropriate for a woman to be with multiple men. I mean, unless you're prostituting yourself and they're taking care of you, like you're getting your needs taken care of by all of those men. And then I still don't think it's the higher ground, because I think it's very destructive to young girls and boys that you would parent that would look up to that. And it's just, I mean, there's a guy in our group that just said the other day he was raised by a prostitute, that his mom was a prostitute, and he's fucked up, you know, and but he's getting better, and he has a lot of really solid strengths, and he's attractive in many ways to women because of his freedom of his, he doesn't care about the same shit that other guys care about. But you know, so just looking at that, and then
wow,
like,
that's helpful, because I like never really want to push on people and their beliefs.
well, it's your show. That's the thing. So you don't want to be holding suppressive people on your show, and she's going to be suppressive to your ideas.
Yeah, well,
about men and women.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. She thinks that we have a similar ideas because she thinks poly is poly, and she's not understanding it's different. She thinks that we're similar in her mind. So she wanted to
Right. So then you would ask her, what makes you think that we're similar?
Like that, she sent me this message saying something like that. She thinks we're similar, asking me like, how did I get into poly? And I was like, I didn't get into poly. My man is my leader, and I would just do anything for him. I mean, I said like a whole thing about, you know, that you're my love and that I'm fully devoted to you, and that it's not about what I want. I could care less, but it's what
right. So it's you'll get this, you know, it might take another dozen or 100 girls or something that you interact with, but you don't want to divulge so much. You don't need to explain about your relationship at all. They're not going to get it. Yeah. They just won't get it because they don't know me. And it doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
Like any of the women that you saw at the mall, they were following their guys around, like, or they were leading their guys around. Like if you explained, you know, how a woman should be submissive and should follow her leader and, you know, should be so respectful and this or that. Like if they don't have a man in their life that fits that bill, and they probably have never had a man in their life that fits that bill, except maybe their dad when they were really young, but they probably lost respect for him a long time ago because of how he was interacting with mom and whatever.
Yeah.
That it's just not going to make sense to them. They're like, what? Because they're going to think the guy next to me, it's like, why would I be submissive to him? Why would I lead? He can't lead for shit. Like, you know, they just won't get it. It just won't have any reality, nothing to stick to. Like if you put those ideas.
Yeah.
So you'll frustrate yourself trying to explain, well, I'm so devoted and this and that. And unless it's somebody like, huh?
I felt like I just said it and I didn't need to explain myself.
You said you sent a long message.
Well, like a long would be like, I mean, I guess I'll just show you how long it was.
I would assume when you say that, it was probably longer than her message. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe by like one sentence.
Okay, it still might be too long.
Yeah.
So take the correction and quit defending yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're explaining it sounds like you were explaining too much. So just think about it. If the person says, how did you get into poly? What makes you think I'm into poly?
Okay.
You see how short that is? So I'm questioning. What am I going to explain? I'm not
She was on podcast listening. She's been there. She knew Megan. Like, she heard the story. Then like she was on podcast when Ella and I, like last week, we were talking about Megan leaving. And so
okay, so if you don't want to ask what makes you think that I'm poly, then I would just ask, how are you defining poly? Because I don't consider myself that.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
Right. You see, so I'm questioning frames.
Yeah. Yes, because
and then she would say, well, you know,
I didn't
men
associate with that.
Yeah, you didn't, but you explained something else.
But I explained something else.
Right. So you got to question the person.
Wow.
So, you know.
I have one more question kind of in relation to this topic of like what I've noticed, like models and other women posting, which is this new trend that says like, he asks me, what do I bring to the table? And then the women are like making a big deal about like nothing. I bring myself to the table. They like think that men who are asking of the woman, like, what does she have to offer? That it's nothing, like that she's just her body.
Well, the fact is she does have nothing to offer.
Yeah.
She has nothing to offer. Not only do those women have nothing to offer because they're lower value women mentally and everything, women don't have anything to offer to men. What is it? Do you see? That's the truth. That's the truth. That cuts through. You see how the truth?
It's so, but they don't see it as that.
They don't, because those are beta men that are going after them saying, I am seeking a relationship with you. Now, what do you have to offer? They would take anything. But they're saying that because they think they should. But a man who seeks a relationship with a woman is beta. Why are you seeking a relationship with a woman? She should be seeking a relationship from you.
Wow.
That's the proper order. So they're being pursued by men. And that's why they're coming out with these like arrogant standards of there's nothing. I'm good enough as I am. I'm a queen already.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean.
The one meme was like, what I have to offer. And the picture was like lip gloss.
On my dick. Yeah, that would be fun. You're right. That now, what are you going to get from me that's going to do that? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I would never ask that question. So that would never come. I would never get that answer from a girl.
Yeah.
Because I would never ask, what do you offer?
Yeah, that's
what I would say would be like, are you fun?
Yeah.
Do you have a good sense of humor?
Yeah.
Do you like to get massages?
Yeah.
Do you like funny movies? Do you like UFO documentaries or paranormal things, ghosts and things?
Yeah, that's dope.
Because all she has to offer is pleasure of her company. That's it.
Isn't that perfect how you already know that's these women who are tripping about like guys think what I have to offer, they're looking at a bunch of beta guys.
Of course. Guys are all so beta.
It's just funny to me when I see the little reels that women post on Instagram of other relationships and like other people having fun with their own kids. I'm like, what are you, just make it yourself, just go live your life, whatever. It's just funny.
Okay. All right, that's great. So the talk ended up, looks like another model.
Velvet.
See, Callie Pack, wouldn't you like to have models hitting you up all day, every day?
Is it Velvet?
Yeah. I wasn't going to say the name.
Oh, okay.
That's why you got to come here and get the training and do the origins and move on up the ladder, spending so much time and money and resource and energy, although you may not value your time and energy as much as I do because I'm older and I'm more valuable. And to who? To the tribe. I don't know who you're valuable to. I'm sure you're valuable to your mom, your dad, maybe a friend or two. But as you become more valuable to more and more people, you don't want to waste your time. And so if you're taking your time to learn Vegas pickup, but you haven't learned the IMC methods, I mean, you're building a castle on sand. It's just, I don't know. You think that you know better and that you're going to take the shortcut exactly to what you want. If in fact that's the case, then you're going to be out of IMC real quick. Not because you get kicked out, but because you don't have what it takes to live this lifestyle. There's a lot of guys who have learned pickup in the world. A lot of handsome guys, built, money, they got the face, they got the voice. They're a bunch of chodes. They end up getting married or they get some kids. They turn beta. They're already beta because you're valuing the pussy so much that you're investing in learning how to pick up chicks without really committing much or really having much value other than personality, which is great. That's great personality. But you're learning a skill set that's very front loaded. So it's how to present an attractive first impression so that you can get the girl when she's out looking for dick or whatever. And because that's what it is. I mean, when you go to a Vegas club, I mean, what are those girls in Vegas for? What are they in Vegas for? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You got your hand up. What's up?
Yeah, learning this pickup is totally different. It's not even hitting on them. Before I used to, when I learned London game, which is going direct. But recently, since I did join Vegas camp, they taught me how to get this girl, like whichever girl I want, without even hitting on them, and have them chase you. So it's totally different.
Yeah, for a short
even
time,
if they don't, I don't care.
They'll chase you in the pickup if you do it right. You're learning how to interact more properly, being indirect and not sexually direct with a woman upon meeting. And so that's going to help in a lot of areas of communication. But you want the girl chasing you for years and lifetimes. That's a better pickup. Otherwise, because you're still valuing the pussy. What?
No, I'm just laughing because you got that.
That's the truth. Because you are still chasing the woman for the goal of having sex with her. And you're using a strategy of, I'm not going to hit on her to get sex from her. That's still hitting on her. You're just not communicating that. She's not getting that you're hitting on her. But she'll soon find out when it's obvious that you value the pussy so much. And a lot of the pickup guys, their goal is, I'm going to have so much abundance for myself where I've picked up so many girls, I got so many girls on my phone and so many girls that are comfortable with me that I'm never going to run out of like choices or options or whatever. So I'm not going to be needy, and I'm not going to I'm never going to be chasing the pussy because it's all going to come to me because I have so much abundance. And at some point, there's highs and lows. There'll be one day where 5 girls hit you up and you're like, man, I don't even have time for all these girls. And I just got to pick 1 or 2 or whatever. But then there'll be days when none of them hit you up and you're going to dip. And you're going to realize so much of what you have going on inside of you, your feeling and sense of self, was dependent on the pussy. And so you could go that route. That's what a lot, AZD himself, or even myself. I mean, been with a lot of women, and fortunately, I don't know if I would say fortunately, but what has happened for me is at the pace I've learned and in the way that I've learned that it's not been huge paradigm shifts since the beginning. I feel like I've been learning the right way since the beginning, since I started learning this stuff. And I went through a journey where I was, making short-sighted errors in my game, but that was part of my evolution. And it's part of your evolution too in the game. So the thing is 100% of all of Midday Gospel, Lion's Den, Brother of the Beast, Dragon's Lair, since the beginning of forever, I started Love Spell, Diamond Mind, Cali Pack, you getting it? 8 years I've been in this IMC stuff. It's never been hit on the girl together, ever. It's always been indirect. That's what this is. You are studying indirect game. But the teachings have morphed so much where it's so beyond game, and we're not talking about the mechanics of how do you open over the shoulder and what do you say and this and that, but it's all in the demeanor, the attitude, and the frames of mind that you're looking down on the woman. And it's the truth. And it's not that I'm mistreating her. I'm actually correctly treating her by looking down on her. When you look up to the woman, you mistreat her. When you look equal to the woman, you mistreat her. You're not treating her properly. But I'm not abusing the woman. I'm not like, causing unnecessary suffering or negative karma for myself. But what is her value? What is she bringing to the table? She's bringing a womb to the table and whatever skills that she has that could raise a child to adulthood. And to the degree that she could raise a child from adulthood and that she could produce a child for me, I mean, that's what she has to offer. I may not want a child. And then that's off the table. And there you have, I don't want anything from a woman. But I still, okay, I have these primal urges and whatever. You're addicted to sex. So you're going to, learn a method. And like I said the other day, we learn pickup not to make a girl this was said in lecture. And then, it's something that really I've adopted. It was correct wording. I never learned pickup, and you shouldn't learn pickup to make a girl who's not interested in you interested in you. You learn pickup so that you know how to make the girl that's interested in you and how to move her down into the kind of relationship that you want. You learn how to use her interest properly. That doesn't violate her, doesn't violate her group, your group, the group. That's why indirect. That's why even if she shows interest, you don't hit on her, because that would violate the group and it would make her feel slutty if she's really thinking about it. She's showing interest, so you go through the whole sequence, and then at some point you show interest, but it's still not sexual interest. It's just like it's a fascination with character or whatever, and then comfort building and all these things. It's the proper sequence that you would do naturally if you were really a high value guy that was completely non-needy. That's all it is. We haven't hacked the code of something that was not discovered. It was naturally discovered by very high value guys, not necessarily guys that were endowed with power, like he was born a prince and became the king and he's high value, but he didn't have to learn how to be high value like that, versus someone that started in the ghetto. Let's say that ghetto hero story, and he's like started in the ghetto or whatever and built his value up and learned how to communicate and became that high value guy, not just money and business or whatever, but with women too. He was a well-rounded, and that might be 1 in a billion. It maybe hasn't even happened, but the mystery method algorithm is the code of a. What are you yawning about?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you see that that's rude?
Sorry.
Do you see that that's rude? Okay, was that like, make yourself more quiet or something? You got to be so loud about it so everybody knows. Bitch in the background's bored.
It wasn't a bored yawn.
What was it? A lack of breathing yawn?
Yeah.
Still, you don't have to be loud about it. Like, have some tact.
I know, that's why, because it was like an unconscious breath yawn. It was not like I need to yawn because I'm feeling tired.
I'll bet in the right environment, let's say there was guys around, you know how aware you are of guys and you move side to side, that you wouldn't be so loud. And if you were, then that would be fucked up. Okay. So it's naturally the code of what a high value guy who was not needy for sex would put a woman through if he was interested in her in some way. It's not, guys are interested in sex, so it's not like you're not going to be interested in sex, but it's like you're not needing it up front. So what would your opener would naturally be non-needy, it would be non-committal. I mean, you got other shit going on because you're such a high value guy. Your DHVs would come out naturally. Your negs would come out naturally. I'm not trying to neg my girl while we're at the mall. All the things I say that are kind of, if you wrote them down, like the transcript of what I said, it's rude. But you laugh. You enjoy it a little bit. Those are negs. I'm not trying to neg you. That's just a term, a concept, or a label that I can use to better understand and to transfer the understanding of what I'm doing. It has been codified that that's what a neg is, but I'm not trying to neg. I am looking to guide the energy of the interaction in a way that's positive, and I know that negs are part of it. It's as little as teasing. So a high value guy around a girl that's looking up to him that he's interested in is naturally going to neg and DHV, neg and DHV, neg and DHV, and she's going to keep showing more and more attraction towards him. And at some point, if he's a high value man and he's savvy, you can't just neg and DHV for the rest of your life with her. She needs to feel like she belongs with you in some way, that there's a connection. Otherwise, you're just a cocky, funny guy that can't connect. And that's not a good father quality. There's no emotional investment. And it's not that the man needs to be emotionally invested. He needs to convey that you're safe around me. I'm going to qualify you in some way that's really interesting. Oh, I like that about you. I didn't know that about you, this or that, so that she feels a little more unique. He's a high value guy. He's got a bunch of girls going after him. She needs to know, why am I different? I'm attracted to you just like everybody, but I don't feel safe until I feel unique. And that's naturally what a high value guy would do. Naturally, a high value guy the comfort would build because he has so much going on and there's so much venue changes and so many people showing respect, and more, it just accumulates where she'll have comfort. Seduction, I mean, the whole thing, the whole algorithm is the code. Now you're learning the code. We learned the code. We didn't develop the code ourselves naturally through evolution. It's like the ETs came in and genetically engineered and people skipped ahead in their evolution. That's what the mystery method comes in, and we skip ahead in our evolution. That doesn't mean we're fully integrated, prepared for that level of behavior. That behavior naturally would emerge from a high value guy that was savvy on all these subjects. And here we are, didn't change anything about our value in life, but we learned some communication skills to mimic a high value guy. Get it? So where's the rest of you? The rest of you's got to catch up, because you're just going to be portraying high value in the pickup scenario. When she gets to know you, she's going to see, I've been fooled. I've been duped. That's why we say you got to get your origins process first before you learn the pickup. Otherwise, it's a castle on sand.
How do you learn the origins process?
There's a camp called Origins.
Oh, it's every month?
It is now.
It's coming. It's every month. Do you have it?
Or
it's coming up this month?
It's been every month. So this is like the third month.
Oh, it's like a second camp.
Yeah. But it was already like from years ago, it was called the Beast Camp.
Yeah, the Beast Camp.
And so we have a product called the Phase 1, where it's a compilation of all of these. One person's bought it. And then, it's leaked out in lots of ways. I have a Telegram group called the White Belt Group. So I give kind of the broad strokes of the origins process, which is the Beast process. And, so it's available and it's talked about all the time. And I email about it and I talk about it all the time. And Cali Pack's been around on all the streams and he still hasn't done it. He wants to go and learn pickup, how to get the girl in a way that's more proper, because he sees the results here are more proper. And, Kat would never be as submissive and as loyal as she has been to me 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been, off a direct pickup. Angelica wasn't a direct pickup. Julie wasn't a direct pickup. None of the girls have been direct pickup. There's been a lot of girls that I've gotten, I don't even want to say I've gotten with, that we've hooked up or whatever, that were direct pickups. They go nowhere. Because you're training the girl that dick is your value. And so that's as far as it goes for her. My value is my mindset, how I think about life.
Yeah.
My affiliation with a very powerful tribe that's also growing. We're a tribe on the rise. I'm a man on the rise within the tribe and without the tribe. So that's the real value. Then your pickup skills, they matter. Before then, you're chasing the woman because you're learning the pickup skills to get the woman, but haven't worked on these other areas of life.
Yeah.
So that's meaning that the woman is more valuable than these other areas of life for you. So you've prioritized the woman over other areas of your life. That's chasing the pussy.
How would you know if the woman is ready to be with you more?
What do you mean more?
How would you know if like what you were just talking about, how do you know if she's changed towards you for the better? You can just tell from her beingness, or if she wants.
I don't know where the question's coming from. I wasn't saying that, so it's out of context.
Well, I was just trying to, because you were saying that the point of the pickup is not to get a girl that doesn't like you, but
to make a girl that's not interested.
Yeah, to make a girl, but it's for making a girl who is interested with you.
It's the proper sequence to pick up and make comfortable and seduce a woman that's already interested in you, that's attracted to you.
So that was where the question was coming from, was just trying to understand how you can tell
indications of interest. Yeah. So she indicates interest in various levels. In the very beginning, indicators of interest, body language and touching her hair and eye contact.
Not the first time, after you've been with her for a while.
It is still the same principles of she demonstrates interest and then she complies with what you tell her to do. And then she shows the next level of interest and then she complies with what you tell her to do. It's almost never, I say almost, but probably never. It probably never happens that interest compliance all the way until forever. And then she never defies. She never indicates disinterest. She never doesn't comply. She's going to not comply at some point. And then there's ways around that, which is, you can't just forward bend, stretch, forward bend, but you got to back bend, side bend, twist it up, because you need well-roundedness. She needs to feel she's her own person. She's not going to just comply endlessly to you. But that's all the way from the beginning of the pickup till the end of time. It shows interest, you give her a hoop to jump through. And in a more integrated ideology or philosophy, the hoop that she's jumping through is something useful to you. You're not just telling her to hold your drink just because you want to test if she's compliant. You want her to hold the drink because I need my hand on my knife because the dude's right there, or I got to get out my key. Like we're walking and I give you the cup and I say, hold this, and you comply. Now, that wasn't a big test of like our relationship. The compliance might be do the model search, say this to them. Or like you said, what do I say to this person? Say that, then don't waste my time. Say it. That's a compliance, you know? And
even the little one.
Do this. Anything that you think that I think you might resist. Yeah. Like what was it I said today that I was testing you? I forget what it was. But I said I'm always testing.
I think it had to do with like changing sides at the mall.
Well, whatever. Do you remember at some point on the mall I said I'm always testing? You're like always. You said something that was like I always follow your lead or whatever, and I was like, yeah, and I'm always testing that too.
Yeah, it just happened on Instagram actually.
So, you know, how do you know that the woman is ready for more? I mean, do I want more, first of all? Because I mean, even if I don't put labels on anything, you know, it is the girl, you wrap up her emotions in something, you create karma for yourself if you let her think that you're more than what is happening or whatever. And
why you say that? Like that's why you're so honest about your boundaries? Or why would you say that? Sorry, I think I missed the sentence before that one.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because you were asking how do you know she's ready for more, and it's well, do you want more?
Yeah.
But then if
like she says it, you wouldn't or would you be able to tell? Because like I feel like for me, I guess it was just very obvious. I was very, very loud about it. I want to be with you forever, and I never want to leave, and I want to be with you 24.
Yeah, I don't bring if it's anything to do with like deepening the relationship or whatever, then she brings it up. The guy doesn't bring it up.
Wow.
So I'm not bringing up like what are we? That's so beta.
Yeah. That's what a woman would bring.
That's what I think. That's now I see. That's probably what you're asking. Like, she's gonna bring it up. Like, how can I spend more time with you?
Yeah,
you know, like what's her face said. You know, can I? I mean, I was talking about the park in a way that she's like, I just want to go to the park with you. And I was like, okay, well then delete all of that and remove all of that, and then you know, so that's how I knew that she take to the next. I don't want to waste the time taking a girl to the park if you're talking to other guys. Like, no, at least remove all of that.
Yeah.
And then I'll consider it.
I like that.
You know, so yeah, she'll show that she wants more. And then if you want, then you give her something to jump through, you know, so that she can earn it.
And then like, how would you know if like she was ready? Like, I mean, I was thinking like one of the biggest things that I bonded with Megan about in friendship wise was just beauty, changing the, you know, like the physical appearance.
Yeah, what about it?
Like that, like I feel like that's just what I have to offer in my friendship.
What do you mean?
To another woman. Like, remember earlier when you were saying like that I should just focus, instead of worrying about new girls, that I should just focus on building my friendship with the other two girls. But then I was thinking about like what I have to offer in the relationship is really just like what I know about beauty and that you've taught me. I don't know.
You know how to be with me. That's what, see, you don't see it because you're not interacting with these other girls and you don't see that they're so clueless. They comply and they're submissive when they're around me, but I don't know how much understanding they have of why.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that you need to philosophize to them and explain it to them, but just in your beingness, they will notice something different about how you operate. You don't know, as you're not as aware as you might think about how you're operating differently from them because you don't interact with them. So you don't have the contrast.
True.
So yes, beauty and this and that, but all of that comes from a mindset of I'm improving myself.
The beingness.
The beingness and the mindset. They're just separate things. And so more general, which means like zooming out, more general than teaching women how to improve their beauty is, you know, how to be with a guy like me. That's what you have to offer other women. Of like, you know, mating potentials, whatever. Not, I mean, young girls, you can improve in some way. Older ladies, you could do something else. They're not going to be with me, but like,
yeah.
So to young girls, you're an example of how to be a a woman with integrity. To older ladies, you're an example of how to be a woman of integrity. That's what it is. You're just a woman of integrity. And then, you know, to what degree you reveal that to women, I mean, depending on the relationship or whatever.
So,
in all sorts of ways, like
that.
Yeah, in all sorts of ways. How to handle conflict, how to handle when you're upset at me or something. How do you handle yourself? How do you handle gift giving, gift receiving? How do you handle
all those little things?
All your schedule, your lifestyle, all of those things are not, you know, you being an independent woman. That's how you get along with a guy like me. That's why you wake up at 5:30 every day. I doubt you'd wake up at 5:30 every day if it wasn't for me. You weren't doing it before.
Oh no, I was like not doing a lot of things. Right?
Exactly. You're doing that to be with a guy like me. If you weren't with me, I wonder how long you'd keep your wake up time.
Yeah.
You know?
That's very true. I
mean,
I don't, you know, it's like the other ultimatum. I just didn't even think about it.
No, you don't need to think about it.
Yeah.
But you will know it when you meet other girls that don't have that process because they don't know how to be with a guy like me. All they know is how to show up when I say and be compliant and submissive while they're with me, and then they go back to their fucking stupid life. That's what it is. And because I get bored handling their dull ass conversations about just human normie dramas or whatever, that's why I say you got to do some yoga, you got to watch Michael Singer, you got to listen to my podcast. I'm gonna get bored with you. I say that like I'm gonna get tired of the conversation because you need help and I'm helping you, and that's great. That that's what it is. Like that's the you know.
So what do you think, like the people and the women who are creating alter universes on ayahuasca, do you think that they're
creating delusions on ayahuasca? They're not creating alter universes.
Like, do you think that they have experienced some kind of deeper inner fulfillment, like joy? That, or do you think that we equally, because like I feel like because I've had spiritual experiences.
I don't know about joy. I don't know about joy. I don't know about joy, but I know I've done a lot of ecstasy and I felt a lot of joy. But do they have peace? What are we really valuing?
That's dope. Well, but like on the emotional scale of frequency, joy and peace are up at the top together. So I don't know.
According to who?
Well, like just the frequency of the measurement of the emotion.
According to who?
I don't know. The emotional wheel spiral that has like anger and
the wheel is not a measure of frequency. That's an emotion wheel.
I'll send you a photo of it. It's just like some kind of diagram that is like measures
the
frequency of emotions.
It's important. That's important because that's just somebody saying some nonsense.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to know where that comes from.
So.
Yeah. Because emotions are low. No matter how high they're on the tone scale, they're low.
Yeah. So peace is not an emotion, but joy is an emotion.
I think peace, the closest thing that you might understand to peace is contentment.
Contentment.
Contempt is different.
Contentment.
Yeah.
Contentment.
Contempt is like I disapprove of what you're doing. I hold you in contempt. Like that's contemptible versus content.
Yeah, that's like contempt is like how most women treat their husband.
Yeah, with contempt. Exactly. So that's a low emotion. Content, it's almost like emotionless. It's peace.
Got it. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's contentment that's all the way up. Maybe it's not.
Maybe, but you know, so joy, like, if drugs are giving you that joy, then, you know, I don't think you have peace.
Okay. That's dope, actually.
Okay, last question, Callie Pack.
Yeah, my question is, so I was actually listening to an audio book that AZD had mentioned. And in there, it said to open up your heart from one of these three things. One is spirit, second is Shakti, and then also Chi or something. What are ways I can do that?
To open up, is that Michael Singer?
Yeah, my heart. You know, yes, Michael Singer, yes.
Well, one of the best things is going to be to listen to Michael Singer. When I think of opening up my heart, I think living with truth and integrity and high ethics, because the heart closes when you're holding secrets. And
Totally.
So living in a way where you can be transparent about how you're living. This doesn't mean you got to divulge everything, because some things are not appropriate to talk about with other people or whatever. That's okay. The yawn wasn't. You get it?
But both were like that.
No, the yawn takes much. You got to inhale fully before you yawn. There's a whole 3 seconds you have of warning before that happens, and then you don't have to vocalize the exhale. Oh, that's a voice. If you were trying to be discreet, if this was a meeting with the president, you wouldn't make a loud noise. Yeah, I know that. That's why you can't. Huh?
You've raised me from this to hooligan to a nice lady. I'm
raising you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're there yet, because you're letting out long yawns like you're an animal in the jungle or something. So, you know, learning to communicate freely, like how I was just saying that to her, and I called her an animal in the jungle, but I said it in such a way that she didn't feel so offended, because I'm able to communicate it. I could say it in a way that'd be like, hey, that's rude. I could also not say it, and then I would feel closed by not saying what I want to say.
Okay.
So learning how to communicate so that you don't have to hold things in and you don't destroy your whole world by saying everything that's, on your heart, but like, and then how to be unemotional and forgiving everyone from your past for anything they ever did wrong to you, and how to appreciate your life and what you're doing in an unemotional way. So you're not pursuing passion like that. You live from a place of peace. And I think, having a process where you reflect, where you sit quietly and you're able to notice more of ideas or reflections, memories that are closing your heart. And I think that's actually kind of what Michael Singer says, is you got to become aware of what's closing your heart and what's opening your heart. Peace, contentment, your heart opens, but violations or out ethics or things that you are ashamed of or you're thinking about that closes the heart. So you got to become aware of the heart area. And what?
Do you think that the pain in the shoulder has to do with closing the heart?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think when you have truthful relationships with people, business, friends, relationships, family, truthful, honest relationships with people. I mean, that's what it takes for your heart to be open. I don't know if it's chicken or the egg. You got to get truthful before your heart opens, or your heart opens before you get truthful. But I think that's the relationship between it. And not being truthful is like holding secrets. And secrets will close your communication with people. And then how could your heart really be open with them? Same thing with yourself. Your heart might close about what you're doing with yourself because it's like a part of you is holding secrets from yourself, or part of you're in denial about the truth of the situation and your habits and your decisions and whatever. And so you get more and more closed. So hopefully that answered it. Thanks everybody for silent flute attendance. I'll see you on the next one. Os. Jai Gurudev.